So Thomas,
Yes.
if you could start a band right now, what would you name it?
Oh my gosh, that's sort of a hard one, but I thought about this for a long time. But what comes to my mind right now is Chopstick Murphys. How about you, Jess?
Cheers for years. Hello, all you beautiful people of the internet. I am Jessica, and I am here
With Thomas.
from TQ Productions, also known as T-Quaxify, and we are here to talk about AFI, also known as A Fire Inside, and their newest album, the self-titled Blood album, which is fantastic. Their tour that the first leg just ended in California.
It was like last night. It was Los
Last night.
Angeles, and apparently it was crazy. But hey, when you have AFI, how can you help it, right? And if you guys didn't know, we live in Orlando, Florida, so we went to the show back in February 10th.
Yes.
It was at the Plaza Live, great venue. It's actually about 10 minutes from my house. The venue was nicely sized, and it was the crowds when that it was enough to maintain that crowd. And what you think of the venue that we went to?
I'm glad that they chose it. The parking, for one thing, is a lot easier to deal with because it's regular parking. It's in a shopping center, so you can pretty much park wherever you need to. You don't have to worry about parallel parking like you do with venues that are more directly downtown. And I also like the size of it. It's small enough that you feel the intimacy of a somewhat smaller concert, so you feel closer to the band, but it's big enough to fit more people. I like it. It's solid.
Yeah, and it wasn't even expensive. It was about like a little bit over $25. And honestly, before when they announced the concerts where they were, I was thinking it was going to be about $50, but it was actually half the price, and I was surprised. And then instantly, I mean, of course, the tickets were sold out about like a few days later. So I got lucky to buy your ticket as soon as I could, and also my ticket. And you just came back from Missouri too. You just moved back to Florida, Orlando, Florida, from Missouri.
I am
And
so glad to be back. I love St. Louis. I love many things about Missouri. Shout out to St. Louis. But Florida is my home, so I was very glad to be back, and especially to start it with the AFI concert.
And
I can't think of
AFI is our favorite band, so
Yes.
this is like a really best welcoming back.
so
gift
yeah.
ever.
I can't think of something better. Honestly, the
And-
timing was perfect.
Yes. And so more about the concert. We went in an hour early, and we still managed to be very close to the stage. But even because we had some bathroom breaks, and also before we actually went out and hung out with some people, we actually met some friends before we went to the
We
concert.
did. Yeah, while we were waiting in line. So shout out to Caleb and Jelena from Louisiana, and to Megan from Kentucky, who we met later when we were actually inside. We got to talk to them for quite a while, and they're
And
fantastic.
They were amazing, and it kind of shows that you can, it's going to a concert is one of the great ways to make friends, especially when they have similar interests. Like music really brings people together, and since now we have friends that are Louisiana and Kentucky, so I can't wait to see you guys again. And about the concert, everyone was pretty much the same fan of the same band, obviously. So we felt that connection between everyone there for the same boat, even though everyone just understands why each other was crazy. It was just crazy. If you everyone's at an AFI concert, it's just lots of crowds, but it doesn't take away from the experience because you just can't blame them because the songs were amazing, the performance was outstanding.
Yes, they know what's good.
Yeah.
So,
And just seeing them out there, even it's not just about the music performance; it's also about how they dressed and how they presented themselves, which I felt like it really made sense to the straight edge hardcore scene they were going for. Even though they don't really have a label, it's just sometimes it mostly feels like hardcore punk to me. And of course, after the concert, we had a surprise that we didn't expect.
yes.
We were just kind of around. We'll get to that a little bit later. We'll just talk more about the concert on its own kind of deal. But how would you describe the performance overall?
Solid as always. I mean, they've been around for a long time now, and they've just watching them develop in the course of their career. AFI has been really cool. And they're just excellent showmen and authentic people, and so they just reach out authentically through their music, in person as well as when they're recorded. It's always well done. The tour management is done well. The lighting, all the production aspects, to a T, to fit not only them in general, but that specific album. It was really well done. They had the vertical lights that would kind of strobe red before it started, and like pulsate, and it went straight into Miss Murder.
That was pretty
Every city has had a different, set list, of course, and they posted all of them at their Instagrams, the AFI News headquarters Instagram. Shout out to them because they're awesome. Always keeping us updated, and always liking things that the fans post, which I think is very.
Thank you, Hunter.
So they've been posting the list from the different cities, and Orlando's was wonderful. And they started right off the bat with Miss Murder, which got the energy going very quickly, very high, very early.
And what was great about the set list was each song was super exciting because you didn't expect the next song or the next song. Because honestly, right before the concert, I was expecting the first song to be either Snowcats or White Offerings. But no, that was actually around the middle. They didn't play White Offerings, which is fine. I love that song a lot, but I'd rather there's other songs that kind of like make up for it. Even though all their new album, I love every single song. So far, so I have nothing to complain about. All the songs they played were amazing. There's actually a lot of songs I didn't even know, so going to this concert really kind of enlightened me based on their older albums, because I've listened to everything from Sing the Sorrow to the most recent Blood album, but now I've learned more about the Art of Drowning, Sunset and the Sails and Sunset. Black Sails in the Sunset.
Like the Black Pearl.
That's how bad I don't know the album. I just bought it, which I'm excited to listen to. Definitely give maybe a video later to to talk about it. There's also the Halloween album, which is solid. Actually, I have it right here.
Yes.
Very nice. Look at the artwork.
You have started collecting, as you can see. You started collecting the
vinyls.
The vinyls.
Yes. And there's plenty of more to be collected, of course. Other bands too, like The Cure, which you inspired me, and also Davey had the band it has inspiration from The Cure. So
yes,
I'll look more into that kind of type of music.
That's always been true. That's always been true of them. They grew up, I believe, at least Davey and Jade, I'm sure, grew up listening to The Cure and other 80s bands. But in this album, the Blood album, you can really hear the influence of The Cure and Depeche Mode and others very strongly, which I think is a really nice.
It's a beautiful thing.
Element.
And with the concert, Jessica, what do you think is your favorite song they played throughout our show we went to?
Oh my gosh.
I know it's a hard decision because it's like choosing between a bunch of children.
Yes.
And it's just every song kind of really reaches out to you in your heart because I've been listening to this for a long time. Mm-hmm. But back to your question, take your time because I know it's a lot. Because I can't even think of it right now. But I figured I'd ask you first.
This is like when I asked Hunter what his favorite song was that they had done.
Oh, which, by the way, we've met the band later, but that's the surprise. But we'll talk about that later.
And Transmission, by the way, is what he said. And I love that one, too. Oh, my gosh. And just like everything, especially anything from Sing the Sorrow. That album just really does it for me.
I think I noticed about
in a way of
at least over half the songs were from Sing the Sorrow.
Yes.
Which I found that, something that really sticks in my head about that is because the Sing the Sorrow album is also red and black, and the Blood album is also red and black as well. Yes. Look at this, black and red, and it has the same shade of color. So that's what came to my mind. I mean, that could be a reason, but I don't know. Maybe Davey, if you ever see this, please let us know because I kind of want to know that. But yeah, the song, I'd say my favorite song my favorite song that stuck out to me the most has to be. I mean, this is hard for me too. Trust me. And normally I'm really good at making decisions.
Unlike me.
Yeah. I have to say Day of the Phoenix. It was between that and the Transmission, but I guess I'm leaning more towards Day of the Phoenix because the build-up was amazing, and from the moment that went on, you can hear just the nice old-fashioned 80s punk scene or 90s, how they were started, and I think that's also my favorite song from Art of Drowning, which I just started listening recently. Amazing album. and the build up and how to put it together is amazing. And actually, funny thing, I have our Johnny right here. Look how beautiful it is. Look at the artwork and everything. It's great, isn't it? Yeah, it's like it kind of matches your
Sort of
your
does.
outerwear.
It kind of reminds me of the Goblet of Fire, tying Harry Potter into it, as I always can with anything when he's in the graveyard.
Yes.
Obviously.
And but yeah, I mean, they played about. It felt like the concert went by so quickly, but they played more than well over 12 songs, from what I can tell.
I think so.
And it just that if something goes by so quickly, you're having fun.
Absolutely.
So basically, the show effects were amazing. The hospitality was amazing too. The venue was really nice to us, and the people, even the techs, were actually talkative too. We actually you saw like Dave's brother along the way.
Not Davy's brother. Smith Puget. With them as well. I was coming out of the restroom after the concert, and I was going out, and he was coming in, and we passed briefly, and he smiled at me. So he's a very nice man. He's been with them for a long time as well, because he was, related to Jade.
Jade's actually one of my favorite band members. Actually, I don't really have a favorite, but I'm just leaning more towards. I can probably relate to him more. Not that I have the Jade haircut, but I'm also a guitarist too, and also mainly a bass player. So I guess I can relate to Hunter and Jade. But I feel like Jade has more of a variety to him, since he also is a frontman for Black Audio, because he also does a lot of electronic work, which I'm fond of that music too. Yes,
love it. Can't wait to see them.
We'll definitely have more videos talking about Black Audio, because there's a lot of stuff we're going to have to talk about. And also later, there's a small surprise that someone's told me about Black Audio, but we'll talk about that later. So, and how the concert ended was one of my favorite songs for the Sing of the Sorrow. And what song did it end with? It was also the encore.
I believe Cellular Dream was done.
Yes, it was Cellular Dream. And honestly, for the last few days, I've been listening to Cellular Dream live on my phone, consistently while I'm driving, because it sounds so amazing. The bass was well put together. You can hear the guitar well. It just sounds so consistently put together. That song was amazing, and I can't believe it's not a hit in the album.
It is for us. It is for fans.
Yeah. And what's amazing about these AFI albums is, would you agree that most of the songs that are not even hits are sometimes better than the hits that are out there?
Sometimes,
Singles, right?
Yeah. Especially when they're on a label like Universal, which is obviously great for getting your record out there and getting more visibility. And I'm thankful that they've done that in the past. But yeah, I think often when you go with a label like that, they do probably take more control over which ones get released as singles and which don't, I would assume. And maybe sometimes as an artist, it's not always the ones that you feel are the most musically solid or interesting, but they just dictate that to a degree because it sounds like it'll be more commercially successful. I don't know, but that's what I would imagine. But they're all great.
But I have to admit that it wouldn't be as big if it weren't for that December Underground. I mean, everyone knows December Underground because the song is Murder, and the album really took off. Sing the Sorrow was the one that really took them off, because that came before December Underground. And there's actually an interview we saw recently that the band members admit that if it weren't for December Underground, they wouldn't be as big as they are today. But I think to me, it makes sense. But I think all their music is amazing, every single album. Though I haven't heard more of their original stuff as much, as I did the newest albums. But as far as I can tell, when I heard Art of Drowning and Black Sails so far, maybe a couple songs, I'm digging it, and I'm really excited to go to see hear Proud of You. And is there any other album besides Proud of You also? I think it was. Oh yeah, let's talk about
the 90s era when I was a wee lass.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny because I have been on this earth about as long, pretty much exactly as long as AFI.
1991 was it? Was it started?
November 1991, based on Wikipedia. But I was born in the fall of 1990, so
wow. You're an AFI baby.
Essentially, more or less.
That makes you like 20% more awesome.
I know, and a fall child. So.
Yes. So double awesome whammy there.
Fall children.
Yes. But so throughout the concert we had a good time, and afterwards, we're talking to our friends, Jelena, Caleb, and Megan, kind of saying goodbyes, just exchanged numbers and Facebooks. Great time, met some great people. So we were leaving the concert, and I was gonna, you noticed me. I really wanted to buy the merchandise, but the line went out the door. It was ridiculous. I wanted to buy something, but the line was so long. So we ended up just kind of walking out the building and just talking for a bit.
But we do have
the shirt.
This shirt back from when we pre-ordered the album.
Yes.
We also got the t-shirts. I had the same one. I wore it the other day. I like to wear it as much as I can.
Yes.
But yeah, we have those as well.
And they actually had some really cool, good merchandise online too, and they're selling the albums. Like they pre-sold the 4 different blood type colors of the album, so
That
one
was
for
cool.
each member. Which I never knew that each member had a different blood type.
Very cool.
So
how that happened, right?
In us, something that kind of relates to that, in a strong sense, is that these guys look so different, and I think these guys are different in many different ways, but they work so well together. Like they're best friends. I think they're different in many. They're different, but they're actually the same at the same time because they played so well together. And when they're out there, I can tell they're just having fun, and they were just really connecting with the crowds together. It's just like when I see AFI, some people see just Davey Having. Davey Having, you're a really awesome guy, and you're majority of people's favorites. But I think you all are one. Like you guys are one team, and it's just amazing to see, everyone.
Yes.
And they've had the same lineup for like years among years. It's pretty much. With the only 2, the original members, of course, is Davey, but they had Jade ever since Black Sails, wasn't it? Also, Adam drummer, and it's a wonderful thing. And so after the concert, we were just walking outside, we went to our cars. We were thinking about leaving and going to McDonald's, Mickey D's,
Yes,
for some sweet tea.
I was thirsty, of course, and I was just like, well, what should we do? Should we just go to McDonald's and grab a drink and go home, or So we just kind of sat there debating for a while, and I'm glad that I took so long making a decision because we eventually just got back out of the car, walked over to where all the other people, or at least a good number of people, had gathered afterwards next to the tour bus, and we were like, okay, I don't know if anything's going to happen. They must be waiting for a reason, so we just kind of stayed there.
Yeah, I was actually. You were inside your car about to drive out. I was walking over. It's like kind of like eyeballing it, kind of like I was like a meerkat, just like what?
Full on meerkat status,
Yeah.
Prairie dog.
And I just noticed there's a bunch of people there, just gathering around that RV. Then from a distance, I saw a bald-headed guy, and I recognize that bald head anywhere. I know you, Hunter. I know you're bald head anywhere. So I was like, Jess, Jess, come over here.
It's like a beacon. Hunter is like a beacon.
Yeah, like in Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, they just light all the beacons, and everyone just goes crazy and starts this whole entire thing on Middle Earth. But yeah, we love Lord of the Rings, by the way, and The Hobbit. That's like kind of our thing.
And
Harry Potter.
But
I typically like Lord of the Rings better. But yeah.
I mean, I have a soft spot, obviously, for the world of Tolkien as well because I'm kind of an elf. So.
But moving forward to our experience, we were just waiting around, and later we saw Hunter just kind of walking out. He was just casually talking to people, and it was just one by one. He was just like go from one end and then just talk. He literally gave everyone a one-on-one time.
Yes.
And he was actually, when he went to us, he was so nice. So we even got a picture with him. Actually, that picture will be on my Instagram at tquaxify. TQuaxify. Correct me if I might mess up on that, but I'll put the description below if you messed that up because my mouth goes faster than my brain does. Trust me, all the time. So he went up to us. I had to instantly ask him. It's because I'm also big into instruments and being a musician and everything. I can totally relate to his craft also. And I was asking him, so Hunter, what kind of bass do you play? Do you play a custom Fender Precision? It's like, no. And he actually talks about how he plays a Fender Standard and talks a lot about instruments. And then we talked a lot about instruments and equipment. So it was really, it may not seem like much to other people, but to me it means a lot because I get to actually understand, be told by this, artist what his equipment he uses because this is something I always do research on the side. Because I'm always finding out new things to play, and the American Standard Fender is like this is basically a regular it's a really good bass, and I now realize like I'm more inspired to go get one now because he plays one. Not to mention it, I know he demonstrates it so well how instrument can well play out there, and it was just a great experience. Getting a picture with him, let alone just the conversation itself, is just the world. It's just like I felt so very content. It didn't even cost us anything
No.
for him to come out. We just stood there and he just kind of came out and just talked to us. And I know you asked him a question right after.
I did. I had him sign my phone case, which was awesome. I'm gonna frame that. But I also asked him what his favorite song or one of his favorite songs was that they had done as AFI, and he thought about it and he mentioned End Transmission.
And that was my favorite song to play on bass, by the way. And that's why I was like,
oh my gosh! Yeah, I mean, for all of them, I feel like it's a really fun song for them to play. It just has all of those layers.
And
each instrument you can really hear, and
wasn't that also the only song from the Crash album they played in the concert? I think it was End Transmission. That was the only one that I remember. That was Crash Love.
And my mom loves that song too. She likes Beautiful Thieves also a lot. My mom is an AFI fan as well. She was excited when I told her. So hey.
Yeah, I wish my dad was.
Heck, she's a Cure fan too. She loves like Robert Smith and all that. She feels like he's like her brother from another mother, honestly. So.
Yeah. So that was cool. Our amazing interaction with Hunter. So moments later, a few minutes, it's Adam Carson, the drummer of AFI, and like, you too? Like, he's out here too? Like,
I know.
We're just anticipating. Okay, so if he's out and Hunter's out, maybe Jade and David will be out later. So, but of course we were very excited to see Adam came up. I actually asked when he came up to us. It was a slightly bit awkward, but it was still very exciting because it's just I asked him a lot about drums. What does he play? And I wish I would have asked him more questions because I felt so pressured to get a picture with him because it's just like the way I didn't know how to interact with him because with Hunter I'm a bass player myself too, so it's easy for me to kind of ease in conversation. But when I was asking him about drums, even though I know some things about drums, but I'm not a guru at all, or I don't know anything past what a drum is. But basically, yeah, we got a picture with him, which will also be my Instagram also, and your Instagram too, possibly.
Yes. You can follow him on his Instagram and also mine at showyowl, just like it sounds, like snowy owl, but with an H.
Yeah, show owl. Showy owl. Faux show.
He posts a lot of concert photos very often and things like that.
That's kind of my thing. Go to concerts every month. It's fun. You guys ever have, want to budget something for something? Concerts. Worth it. Just give yourself 5, 3, 4 concerts. You'll do it every month. Trust me. It's a hobby and it's a lifestyle. So.
Because the experiences we feel are definitely worth investing in more than
like this experience we had. You can't put a price on it. You really can't.
Yeah.
So that $30 you pay for a concert, that's a really big jackpot there.
Just cook dinner at home for a few nights and then use that money for a concert. And then you have the memory.
Just put away $10 a week or so.
Yeah.
You're golden.
But yes, you can also follow me on Instagram as well at showyowl, and I like to do a lot of different things, so I'll post all sorts of random stuff, including music related items.
That's our thing. Music, entertainment, and
Central Florida Culture. Yes, you can follow TQ Productions on YouTube here, as well as my page showyowl, for any information on new music, entertainment in general, movies, geeky things. We love all of that, and also Central Florida Culture, because we are in Orlando. I grew up here, and you did. He's here. I'm in Tampa. I come up here often, so we can give you guys all the 411 on what it's like in Florida as well. It's not as bad as you might think. It's a little crazy, but in kind of a charming sort of way.
Oh, yeah. And that was our commercial break of TQ Productions. And continuing on, actually with the bands. So we were just waiting out there for like another 20 minutes out there. And Adam and Hunter were just finishing up talking to people, and they were just about to head out. So later, these security guards saying, "Okay, guys, you guys can go home now." So it's like, "Oh, guess we're not gonna see Jade and."
I thought he meant us. It's like, but everyone's still standing here.
Yeah.
What's happening?
So half the people left, so it was like down to like 12 people out there, and it was like 1:30 a.m. at night?
It was getting late, and I was concerned about the band members obviously being tired, needing to get to Atlanta in the next day.
Yeah, that's quite a drive.
But they still took the time to stay there and acknowledge us and talk to us. So we really appreciate that completely.
And so, surprise, surprise, this one guy came out. He seemed like the manager at the place, or maybe the band manager. But he just came out and says, "All right, everyone, you guys go ahead and make a single file line over here." And then a flag came, and then a light bulb came to my head. Like, wait, this is happening, right? This is possibly us meeting Davey and Jade. So, of course, we follow everyone, just like lining up for Black Friday. This
Not that we want to compare
yeah,
that to
because
shopping.
there's a great deal right there.
But
And so we were waiting in line, and what do you know? I'm so glad we're not even first in line. So which I'm really glad, so it gives us time to prepare to like what we're gonna say. But yeah, right over there was Davey Havoc in a black hoodie. Like he was in this black hoodie.
Gray
He's like,
hoodie. I think it was this really cool, like
yeah,
I don't know.
so he was super stylish. Let's go with that.
This drapey sort of number that looked really awesome, as things always do
So yeah,
when he wears them. So
very nice. And we were waiting in line, and honestly, I was just gonna say hi to him and just have him sign my little ticket because I didn't have anything for him to sign except for my ticket for the concert. So I was like, you know what, I'll just go ahead and have him sign it and just call it quits. But I know that you had some questions to ask. I mean, the sad thing was they said no pictures and no hugs, so that I can understand why. I mean, where they're going at that, but yeah, I would love a picture. But it's okay, it's about the interaction, not about the picture itself.
yes, and sometimes I do agree with him to a degree where if you take a picture, sometimes it kind of ruins the moment a little bit because you're not really in it anymore and you're just focusing on that instead of enjoying what's actually happening. So I get that for sure.
Yeah, and so I know that you were ahead of me, so you're gonna say what you said to him first. But when you got up to Davey, what did you ask, and what did you guys talk about?
The first thing right off the bat that I wanted to communicate was in that short amount of time how much he and all of them meant to me for so long. So I told him that I'd been a fan since 2006 and I've been to 3 shows in Orlando in the time that I've been a fan, and how much they just helped me get through things, especially like back in high school. Things were of course extra tough and they really helped me to get through life. I just wanted to communicate that and how much I love how much I love him and how much I love them in general. I just wanted him to know that. And then I asked him 2 questions. Wish I had time for more, but wanted to give the other fans in line time to talk, including my friend Tom was here. I asked him what one of his favorite memories was from being in the band in his life. And then I asked what his advice would be for someone who wanted to do what he had done with his life, to make art in such a way and produce it like that.
And he was so passionate when he answered the questions too. I saw him behind, and I could tell he was really into it, and he was happy that you asked the question.
Very thoughtful.
Yes. And I was noticing he's looking at me, then back at me, then looking at you. I was like, I think he thought we were like really good friends and we were going to do something.
Which
like
we are.
This. Yeah, we're really good friends. And so yeah, and I saw like how happy you were. You had a great interaction with them, and I can tell the AFI really cares about their fans because the tickets were cheap, and he didn't even have to take time on his own day just to talk to every person. He gave everyone one-on-one time. This is not like a group going in. This is your turn, one-on-one. Your turn, one-on-one.
Yes, which made a big difference to me because I felt like we were very well respected as people who loved their work and as human beings, that they did it that way.
Yes. And so of course you were very satisfied with your...
Yes, I kept it together because I didn't want to freak anyone out, but it was just such a big deal to me. I mean, for him, that might be like meeting Robert Smith, for instance, from The Cure, which he did. Like, they performed in front of them, a cover of Just Like Heaven, which is really wonderful if you want to look it up on YouTube if you haven't seen it. It's when his hair is still long.
I know, I won't check it out.
And Robert Smith is watching them. Like, yeah, it's kind of like that. Like, they're such a big deal to me. They are my favorite band. have remained so through the years, and he's my favorite singer in rock, absolutely rock if you want to generalize. Um, so that was important to me, absolutely, and I was trying to hold it together. And then when we went around the corner, when we finished, when we got to my car, I like let it all out. Then I like jumped up and down and screamed a little bit. But I waited until then to do that,
Of course.
out of respect. And yeah, I felt like a bunny rabbit. You know, I felt like that blue rabbit from Girls Not Gray. Just like,
Yes.
yeah,
Good music video. Check it out.
yes,
And yeah. Well, my interaction was, I didn't expect to say what I was going to say to him, because I was expecting just to get my ticket signed and just leave it. Though I regret not having him sign my Black Audio CD, which is actually my car's around the corner. I just walk for like 2 minutes to get it. But honestly, I was just like so worried that I might miss out. So I was like, you know what? I'll just have this guy sign my ticket and call it. So my turn comes up after you're finished. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna walk up and shake his hand. So we ended up shaking hands. Like, he just puts his hand out right in front like this, and like, and they end up holding hands for like 5 seconds.
yeah. I think we did like this,
And then
this kind
I
of
instantly
number.
look down at his shoes. I'm like, hey, Davey, nice shoes. It's like, he's looking at me, and I look back at him, then I look back at him, and he looks back at me. I'm like, thank you, I really appreciate it. Like, oh my gosh. And so we're just talking about like fashion at that point. And so I guess that's a good conversation starter. So
Oh yeah,
later, so after we're talking about shoes, because the shoes are really nice, like these black Converse, and I'm like, I gotta give him some pair of those. And so I actually asked him questions that you would ask your old friend or something like that. And so I was asking him, hey, like, Davey, what are the chances that you and Black Audio would come to Florida? He was just really intrigued by the question, I can tell.
yeah.
And he was like, he was just mentioning how good his management is, and there's possibly a chance. I know, maybe.
I hope so.
Because I'm a big fan of synth pop, and not
yes,
synth pop, like electronica.
well, yeah, all of that.
And
we would both personally love to see Black Audio come to Florida sometime in the future. Because, like I said, I've seen AFI 3 times. Now you've seen them twice, and
Yes.
I have never seen Black Audio yet, but I really love it too. So it makes me dance. You know, I'm always up for that. It's therapeutic. So yes, if they could come here too, that would be awesome.
yes, that would be amazing.
Because
And,
we love you.
you know, so looking forward to that. But he told me about Black Audio too, is they have 63 tracks already been made on Jade's computer or phone, one of those. So that's enough for like 500 albums. So looking forward to them opening up some more Black Audio, because I'm really looking forward to it. Kind of like a way to kind of take a break from AFI. But no, AFI is like my main thing.
Main squeeze.
Yes. So excuse me. Wow. So right after the conversation about Black Audio, we talked about food, because I am an aspiring vegetarian myself.
Same.
And I was asking him, hey, Davey, what kind of food do you like? I was like, oh, that feels like food.
Which is
Good
always a fun question to answer, no matter
And
who you are.
he was
you
like,
can relate.
I can answer it. Oh my gosh, that's a good question. I like more like the raw foods, organic stuff,
Pizza.
and
Pizza. Vegan
Italian food,
Pizza. He is Italian.
Mexican, and actually there's this restaurant called Plants. It's in Miami by the chef called Matthew Kenny. You should really check it out. I'm like, you know what, Davey? I'll keep them. I took my phone out and just typed it down, because I always write things on my phone to when people recommend me music or food. So my first recommendation from a celebrity, Davey Haddock, of all people.
There you go.
So thank you, Davey, for recommending that. I'll eventually go, if I take a trip to Miami, I'll tell Matthew Kenny that you sent me there. Kind of like, you know, especially because I'm always down to get new food, and I'll try new things. And of all people to recommend me food from a celebrity, I can't back that. You know, I can't deny that. So thank you, Matt. Thank you, Davey. I will check out Matthew Kenny's restaurant at some point whenever I want to take a trip, 2-hour drive to Miami from Orlando.
Yes.
So yeah, so that was our concert experience, and this will be part 1 of our Black Blood album, review rather of the tour and the album. So this will be the end of the first part. So if you guys are interested to talk more about the album itself, go ahead and click on part 2. We are very excited to talk about that. So yeah, we will see you on the next video.